about to attack!
What goes on next is unbelievable.
If some twat wants to kill me, I'm going to kill him.
Weapons, violence, and terror. Just a normal day for the world's toughest men. In the northwest of England sits Liverpool. Residence to 460,000 people, it's the country's most deprived city. And it's also home to one of England's toughest men. This is Stephen French, known as the Devil. He was a taxman who'd forced drug dealers to hand over their cash or face violent consequences.
He would rob drug dealers.
If I wanted to, I could shake them. Yeah. If I wanted to, I could turn their lives upside down. If I wanted to, I could make them have nightmares about me. I could make them see me in a dream. When I was a taxman and I was taxing people, yeah, it was a destitute time out there, right? And I was of the Malcolm X's school, by any means necessary. I wanted to build this reputation. I wanted to be known as a bad man.
He'd steal off the kind of people who couldn't go to the police. Like, excuse me, I've just had 5 kilos of cocaine stolen off me and £320,000 of illegitimate money. You know, that shouldn't have in my wardrobe or under the bed. And good on him. Them people need to be fucking robbed.
Even though robbing criminals made Stephen enemies, he didn't care.
Sometimes I'd have somebody in a situation where I was liberating them from their funds and they wouldn't even know it was me. I'd lift up my balaclava and say, it's me, the devil, what are you going to do about it? And this was how the reputation began to grow and grow, because I actually believed that nobody could touch me and that I was one of the fiercest men on the planet.
Stephen French is a survivor, and his instinct was honed growing up in Toxteth in the 70s. One of the roughest areas of Liverpool where only the tough survived. To make things worse, Liverpool was one of the most racist cities in Europe.
The skinheads in Liverpool carried bike chains. I've been whipped and have the mark on the back of my neck to show it.
The Boundary pub separated the black ghetto from white Liverpool. Crossing the boundary involved hand-to-hand combat with the skinhead gangs just to go down to the city centre. For Stephen, it wasn't just the skinheads that he fought with.
At that time, we had a brutal police force. It was racist to its core. The first time I was assaulted off a copper, I was 11, whacked in the face with a torch.
This kind of police brutality was a recipe for only one thing: revenge. In 1981, it all kicked off with one of the UK's fiercest ever race riots.
They came under a fusillade of bricks and stones and whatever.
A police van drove past and a guy shouted out the window, "You black bastard." Where's the sense in that?
This tension exploded in 9 days of sustained violence against the police. And Stephen was right in the thick of it.
I think Stephen, his persona, his personality, built basically around the Toxteth riots.
1 civilian was killed and 468 policemen were left injured. 500 people were arrested and 70 buildings burned to the ground. In the aftermath of the riots, as the city nursed its wounds, Stephen was reborn.
And I can remember raising my head to the sky and letting out a primeval roar.
Stephen used this aggression to strike terror into the underworld.
And I was one of the fiercest men on the planet. If you cross me, you've got to feed me or you've got to kill me. And it's as simple as that.
In the early 90s, Stephen was at the peak of his powers and the country's most feared taxman. Then, his life was changed forever when his best friend was shot dead.
I was in the afternoon on Granby Street and I was shot 4 times in the back by a dirty coward. I just couldn't believe Andrew was dead.
It took 45 minutes for them to come and take him to the hospital. And an ambulance come to the end of the street after 5 minutes, but because it was a gun crime, it had to wait for a response. That was another 40 minutes.
And I actually believed that it was the end of the world, that my world had come to an end.
Every year, on the anniversary of Andrew's murder, Stephen and his brothers meet up to pay tribute to him.
by the way. They're trying to get me to link up with you a little bit sooner than I'm ready. They took a few shots at me this year, kid. But I'm still here. A lot of bullshit going on. Nothing that I can't handle. A lot of people say it should have been me, and it shouldn't have been him. And it transpires that the guy that killed Andrew had more reason to want to kill me. And the reason why he had more reason to want to kill me is that he believed I was responsible for doing something terrible to him.
Stephen has survived numerous assassination attempts, and with someone close to him having already been killed, he's now fully aware of the risk to his family's lives.
The gangsters today don't discern between you, your family or your associates. If they can get at you by killing your daughter or kidnapping your daughter, they will do.
For Stephen's son, these risks soon became reality.
Stephen Jr. was involved in gangs. He was starting to get into the criminal lifestyle.
There was nothing Stephen could do to prevent his son from sinking deeper into crime.
He blames himself to a degree that Stephen Jr. is behaving like he is because he's trying to live up to his dad's reputation and stuff.
And Stephen's worst nightmare came true when his son was shot.
When I seen my own son's blood being collected in a container, the big, bad, wicked devil Frenchman blubbered like a baby. The tears were uncontrollable. My Stephen said to me, Dad, don't cry, I'm okay, I'm fine. 'Cause he resented the fact that I was broken. Every ounce of my fiber, every ounce of my warrior being called out to attack and wreak havoc. That's what my heart told me. The demon that I can summon on in an instant was rattling the cage, man, rattling the cage. And I had to control that demon. I had to control that demon.
Since the shooting, Stephen Jr. has left Liverpool to successfully rebuild his life. His dad has also given up crime and now endorses an anti-gun message. Because of this, his enemies have gone to great lengths to assassinate his character, even tagging the walls with graffiti, accusing him of being a police informer.
Being called the grass is like someone calling you a paedophile. And then once that label's put on you, you're fair game to be shot.
This home footage shows just what he thinks of the person responsible.
A little skulking little bitch that runs around in the evening painting shit on the wall about a man that he's so jealous of, so envious of. The greenness is oozing out here.
I challenge any journalist in the country to find or dig out the statements where somebody's received a custodial sentence from something that I did, because I've never police informed on anybody.
The bitterness against Stephen and his family runs deep with the new generation in Toxteth. The gang of kids who now control the streets agreed to speak, providing their identities were hidden.
I heard he come here during the week right here where we're standing now. And he got shot at and so you tell me if he come through here again, I don't know what would happen. He might have been feared back in the day and he's not feared no more. Stephen French is a grass. He's a pussy.
These kids were hiding behind their masks, but Stephen still has to take their threat seriously.
I sleep on the couch and my wife and daughter sleep upstairs because my address is no secret. And if people choose to come to my house, choose to break into my house in an attempt to murder me, they'll find me downstairs. But the people that come for me, they're not gonna come with Ludo and Tiddlywinks, yeah? 38, 45 pump popping shotguns is what's gonna be the recipe for me. In the face of that, I stay here. In the face of that, as a black Englishman, I'm entitled to defend my castle. And this is a phrase I use for only trusted family and friends. This is one hard nigger to kill. This is one hard nigger to kill.
In the heart of Southeast Asia are the Philippines. Its capital, Manila, has a population of over 20 million people and is one of the world's fastest growing cities. It's a teeming metropolis of crime and is policed by one of the Philippines' toughest men. This is Jojo de la Cruz, a key officer in Manila's SWAT team, where facing death is just part of the job.
I'd rather die in action than retire. I never wanted to retire. All you need is kick it, like that, okay? I'd rather be dead in that first burst of fire. I will be very happy or very, very proud to be there lying than retiring without doing anything for my career as being a SWAT.
Jojo is at the forefront of Manila's fight against terrorism, one of the country's biggest threats. Since the turn of the millennium, Islamic extremist groups have killed or injured more than 1,700 people in the Philippines. Separatist groups including Abu Sayyaf are demanding a separate Islamic state, independent of the mostly Catholic Philippines. In 2003, Jojo was part of a special task force. It was put together to catch the Philippines' most wanted terrorist. Indonesian Fatur Algozi is responsible for one of the worst terror atrocities Manila had ever witnessed. In December 2000, 5 near-simultaneous bomb attacks hit the city. 22 people were killed and 120 were injured. He was arrested in January 2002 and confessed to planning the bombings. But the following July, he escaped from prison and fled to the south of the country.
We were ordered by the president to hunt him down.
Jojo and 3 fellow operatives spent 2 months chasing shadows.
Unbelievable, like looking for a needle in a haystack.
Then, with the help of an informant, they were able to find their target.
Eventually, we were able to get Algozi. He was training young bombers in the south.
On the 12th of October 2003, Jojo's team were informed that Algozi was on the move. He was attempting to leave the Philippines. The team went to intercept his vehicle. Jojo and his men managed to block the car, but were met with 2 gun bursts. They returned fire.
He was given a burst of shot in the fatal mass of his body. When we saw him trying to get a hand grenade from his pocket. It was a clear encounter with Algozi, who was trying to evade arrest and at the same time trying to inflict damage or casualty to our ranks.
Capturing criminals, Jojo demands success, and in doing so, even has his own rifle-making machine.
I designed this myself, kept this secret. I don't want everybody having this because it might fall on the wrong hands. I hope you won't mind if I tell you, I could shoot an apple in front of your, on top of your head with this gun, and I'll be 100% sure that only 2 pieces of your hair will be cut off, chop off, like, Muay Thai.
Confronting dangerous men is nothing new for Jojo. He knows all too well about the risks involved. When he was 7 years old, an event took place that would change his life forever. He witnessed his father, who was a criminal, take revenge on a police officer who'd beaten him up.
When he saw that policeman doing traffic in the middle of the street, in front of my eyes, I really remember this. That policeman was shot by my father.
The officer was killed.
One thing that I cannot forget is my father being dragged by policemen along that long path, followed by my mother, and they both disappeared in the darkness.
Jojo was taken into the care of his uncle, who was a police officer.
We used to play with the children of other officers. That's the time when I really fell in love of being a policeman. When something very bad happens in your past, you will always make sure that it will not happen to you, right? I focused my direction to the right path.
22 years later, and despite having a wife and 2 children, Jojo is still very much married to the uniform.
Yeah, how much time do you spend at home?
Almost no time at all. You know, you see what sacrifice you need to do when you're a member of a SWAT team. I don't remember anymore how my bed looks like.
When he does go home, his visits are often brief. And because of the dangers he faces in his job, he can never be sure that the next one won't be his last.
Bye. It's in your mind and in your heart. You must be at all times ready for that. If you're a policeman, half is in the ground. If you're a SWAT member, only your head is not in the ground. Your head is on top of the ground. The whole body is underneath.
England. Renowned for its beautiful countryside and its historic architecture. It is also home to one of the most resilient military forces in the world, and one of Britain's toughest men. Afraid of nothing, here is a man who has been at the centre of some of the world's most dangerous conflicts.
I'll shoot first, ask questions later.
He has survived 9 war zones and done his duty no matter what the cost.
If some twat wants to kill me, I'm going to kill him.
He is a paramilitary and former member of the notorious British SAS. He goes by the name of Spud and is one of the world's toughest men.
I don't have any problems. I don't do any cock stands about killing somebody. All right, let's be clear about that.
This soldier of fortune lives off adrenaline. And to keep it flowing, he's lived more than half his life in war zones. He survived the threat of mortar attacks and landmines, rockets and grenades. Countless times, Spud has done what he's had to do to save not only his life, but the lives of his fellow soldiers.
I don't fucking worry about it. I don't have nightmares. I don't go to the doctors claiming post-traumatic stress. And I don't care about the consequences either.
Spud started life as a paratrooper and then rose up the ranks of the military. He then trained hard to become a soldier in the world's toughest Special Forces unit, the Special Air Service, aka the SAS. The SAS was set up during the Second World War to do commando raids behind enemy lines.
And it was recognised that to do that you had to recruit a special kind of soldier. Physically, they're the toughest people you're going to meet, but they are sharp, very bright, adaptable, flexible. That's what makes them really different.
After his basic training was complete, Spud was sent off to Northern Ireland to get his first taste of war. In 1979, its capital, Belfast, was at the height of its violent troubles. Spud was sent on a 2-year tour as British forces served as peacekeepers between the Unionists and the Nationalists. Here, he was confronted with the reality of an urban war zone, a place where bombs explode and bullets fly.
Whatever you see on the news clips and read about Northern Ireland, you had to be there to understand and comprehend what it was all about, especially where we were posted to in the bandit country, the border part, South Armagh. People were seeing the bombs go off in the city every day, but to actually understand what it was like on the border there, I mean, that was real soldiering, and it was just a constant threat all the time, and stress. And we were constantly getting shot at. Guys were dying, for Christ's sake.
4,000 people were killed during the Northern Ireland Troubles. Nearly half of those were innocent civilians. This is the first time Spud has returned to Belfast. He finished his tour of duty in 1981 and vowed never to go back. But he's returned to visit his old mate and fellow soldier Graham, with whom he served back in the day. These guys have been through a lot together.
Spud's had more adrenaline buzzes over the years than what I have. And can he do without it? I don't know. I hope for Spud's sake that he can. But as I say, it's to people in our situations who've experienced, it's probably a worse drug than heroin because it's it's probably just as addictive.
An official ceasefire was declared by both sides in April 1998, known as the Good Friday Agreement. With this in place, things are a lot calmer in these parts now. But two ex-army guys in a car with a camera crew is very dangerous.
If we get flagged down to stop, don't stop, okay? Yeah. All right, seriously, you know, don't stop if somebody flags you down. Oh, somebody blocks you, don't fucking stop. I'm serious, you know, I'm not fucking no duff.
Spud and Graham were involved in one horrific incident with their fellow soldier Tom. Tom was part of an army truck convoy that was travelling through the Warren Point area close to the border in the south.
A Land Rover got through, the first 4-tonner got through, and as we came through, there was a rumble and flash.
The convoy had been struck by a roadside bomb.
Carnage, really. That's all it was, carnage. I knew I'd been blown up, but I didn't know to what extent. And after, it felt like a minute, the penny dropped, your legs are on fire, and then I couldn't move. It just totally paralysed that way.
Spud was part of an emergency response team called to the scene.
Until it actually happens to you, you think it's a game. But you don't believe death is there until you actually see it and smell it.
This would be an IRA attack like no other. They had a second bomb waiting right where the British Army had set up their command post.
The next thing I really remember is being lifted onto the chopper, and we'd just basically lifted off when it happened all over again. The second explosion went off.
With 18 dead, Warren Point was the highest military death toll in one single incident during the entire Northern Ireland conflict. This is the first time the three men have been back to the site together. Spud was ordered to clean the incident of human remains, the remains of his fellow soldiers.
Oh, I remember thinking, this is fucking outrageous, you know. And everybody was going around thinking, well, who's been hit? Who's dead? Who's alive? Well, we were down there about 3 days, weren't we? 3 or 4 days. And every day went by, there was somebody else coming up with a piece of body, somebody's, you know, extraordinary face of someone, you know. Over the last 30 years, I've been in lots of explosions and seen the aftermath of lots of incidents, you know, involve bombs and IEDs. And there's one thing that always brings me back to Warren Point, and I picked up a leg. And I've never forgot that sock. It was a boot with an army sock, of course, one of our lads.
War zones like this are places where only the toughest are brave enough to enter. And sadly, not all come back alive. Tom suffered horrific burns to 80% of his body and spent 6 months in hospital fighting for his life.
When I saw Tom there, almost dead, how did I feel? Well, I just felt I was so fucking lucky. And the irony of that statement is Tom said he was lucky, and he feels for the people that died on that incident, and I feel for the guys that were injured, you know? Because how you deal with an injury like that for the rest of your life, I don't think I would have been strong enough.
What Spud saw in Northern Ireland changed him in ways that even he can't explain. But he does know that it made him a better soldier.
At such a young age, having that experience, a mass bombing, you know, mass killing was just unbelievable. And seeing your mates scattered, body parts all over, yeah, that pretty much says to you, fucking start switching on now, you know. And from that point on, I learned what war was all about. And I guess to some extent that's why I've survived, in a sense, because I actually learn from past, you know, from past experiences. And I've been awfully lucky. I've had people die to the left of me, die to the right of me, and I've still stood.
Comrades. Okay, cheers, Spud. Fallen comrades, mate.
I've lost as many good friends as I've killed the enemy.
Using the skills he honed from being an elite soldier, today Spud works within the murky world of close protection, operating as a highly trained bodyguard.
You're out there to basically take money and keep your principal alive, keep the guy you're guarding alive, or whatever you are doing up there, you know, keeping yourself alive.
His battlefields are now closer to home. His current assignments involve him protecting the rich and famous on the streets of London. But this isn't quite enough to keep Spud satisfied. He seeks the adrenaline only a war zone can provide.
Companies aligned to the UK government, which employed people from my background, to go and do jobs, well, they call them out-of-area operations, to do jobs which i.e. the SAS couldn't do, or the British government couldn't be seen to be doing politically. The risk factor was always there. You're out on a limb, so that's quite exciting.
30 years spent in war zones must have messed with his head a bit. How will he cope without the adrenaline buzz he seems to crave? For a lot of Spud's mates, it's when they return to civilian life and have time to stop and think. It's only then that the memories come back and haunt them.
I think that maybe blokes don't know how to deal with it, you know? It's easy to go and hit the bottle and go and blow your brains out. I mean, looking at the Falklands, there's been more guys taking their life than what there were killed. 253, I think, died on the operation, and more than 270 have killed themselves, taken their own life. I mean, that's a pretty fucked up situation, isn't it? I'm lucky because I think I've kept constantly in a war zone.
Spud's addiction to adrenaline has cost him 2 marriages. But his daughter may just be the only person who can help him kick his habit.
Having a daughter's changed me, but actually, over the last couple of years, the realisation that possibly I may need her more than she needs me at the moment may be an excuse to stop doing what I've been doing.
Without a doubt, the internal battles still rage in Spud's mind. But the question remains, will he ever find peace? This is Papua New Guinea. It's situated in the Pacific Ocean, just to the north of Australia. It has a population of just over 6 million, 300,000 of whom live in the capital, Port Moresby. Here, the traditions of tribal culture and violence mean the people face an uphill battle to survive. But there is hope. This is Sergeant Apollos Terry of the CID unit. He's one of Papua New Guinea's toughest men, and the top that the criminals fear the most. Apollos Terry faces dangerous criminals every day. In Papua New Guinea, decades of corruption in government has left nearly half the population living below the poverty line. And as a result, criminal gangs known as the Rascals have emerged from the slums. Today, Sergeant Apollos Terry and 10 heavily armed men are heading out on a raid to take down one of their most wanted men.
When we arrive at the location, we will storm the house, surprise them. That's the best ammunition for such operations.
With hundreds of violent men behind bars and many others killed, Terry knows exactly how to handle the assailants.
We had intelligence reports that there were actually firearms in that location. So if we do come across anyone with a firearm, we're ready for anything.
And having been fighting crime for over 25 years, he's well prepared.
Operational target now. They're not expecting us now, so I don't think they'll be rolling out the red carpet. Such missions, it's always dangerous.
As they arrive at the location, the police move quickly to secure the area. They find a number of suspected gang members in the garden. The team search the property. They discover a stash of ammunition.
Aram, di belah sekolah extreme lo, kasi fingerprint ah, di belah clear. So blow shot just took out sona dari mi finish ni ko, di belah clear. Bagi belah owapo.
Unsurprisingly, none of the gang will admit to owning the bullets, so Apollos gets tough.
Arama, di belah ko misi, nunggu di belah ko simpian na terang. So blow shot just took out sona ni mo kata kalau station, nunggu di belah ko simpian. Ibla toto. Ibla toto kisi. No kata ibla simpian mito ibla. We found 3 bullets. So we will take them to the police station and ask them where the firearm is.
Are they all under arrest?
Yes, they're under arrest.
The 8 suspects are squeezed into a police van. They're being taken back to the station to face some tough questioning.
I have never been moved by threats, regardless of what sort of threats have been issued to me or my family. I should not be worried. It should be the other way around. The criminals should be worried that Apollos is actually on their trail.
One of Europe's largest cities is London. Home to over 8 million people, England's capital is better known for its royal family and tourist hotspots. Behind this colourful exterior is a dark and murky underworld, and one of England's toughest men. This is Vic Dark. He used to be one of the UK's most prolific bank robbers.
You just mention his name, people quiver. Don't upset him because he just take your head off.
From 1974 to 1988, he carried out hundreds of raids. He was all about the smash and grab. Blinding innocent bank tellers was something he wouldn't think twice about.
We used to have a little bottle of pneumonia, which is like if I squirted you, you're there sort of blind just sort of for a few days or a couple of hours.
Even his closest friends know they shouldn't mess with him.
There is people out there he hasn't got respect for, and then people just stay away. Just totally stay away. I don't get frightened too much, but if I was one of them, I'd be frightened, very frightened.
I always remember, what's his name, summed him up, was Charles Bronson, not the actor Charles, but Charles Bronson in Nick, and he said, Rick Dark is the real McCoy.
I said to him, what happened if you get these heroes to come up to try and stop you? He said, in his own words, I'll blow their fucking head off. He's a man of honour, but if you cross him, you're gone.
In 1974, at the age of 17, Vic earned his notoriety as the leader of the Sledgehammer Gang. so called because of the way they smashed down the cashier's screens at banks and post offices.
What they didn't like, the robbery squads, because we were so young, we was only like 20 years old. Obviously, we're coming into banks and sorting offices, like big post offices, steaming straight in, nicking all the wedge out of it and coming straight out. They were saying we didn't give a fuck for no one. Literally, we had confrontations with people, obviously a few times.
Vic Dock was one of the toughest armed robbers England has ever seen. And like every workman, Vic had his tools. People just didn't hand over the cash to him, he held them up. He intimidated them, he pointed loaded guns at them and threatened to take their lives.
If it was big crowds, we'd use a double-barrel shotgun, which is like sort of snoring off, which is like looks the part. Or if it was like quick robberies, like security vans, it'd be handguns. With shotguns, there was more frightening, really. So the bigger the crowds, like a big sorting office, it would be like a sawing off shotgun. To get through the screens, we'd use hammers, big sledgehammers. Obviously, the guns I fired off was over people's heads, you know, so it wasn't at the people. I'd done martial arts for a long time. It's like when they kick, you go, ah! You go, ugh! It's just like bang, you go, ugh! So it's just to make them jump, really. Not like obviously, once you fire a gun into someone, once again, you're going to kill them, aren't you? I've not gone with the intention to shoot anyone, you know, so I mark that's quite clear in the robber's code. You don't go and shoot people.
Robber's code or not, people at the other end of the gun probably thought their life was over. For his crimes, Vic spent a total of 21 years of his life behind bars. In 1978, he went down for the armed robberies. It wasn't his first time inside, but it was his first long sentence.
I've done 4 months for an ABH, I've done 3 years for a stabbing, GBH, I've done 12 years for a bank, 3 sorting offices and a security van. I've been in most prisons around the country, mostly up north. Even Pentonville I was in when I was a kid. Albany, Parkhurst, Lincoln, Durham, Full Sutton, Franklin, Long Larton, Strangeways, Walton, Belmarsh, Scrubs, Wandsworth, Brixton, just keeps going on. Nearly every prison in the system.
But his longest sentence was still to come. He gets out in 1986, but it's not long before his addiction to crime gets him into trouble again.
I was bored. That's how it all starts, I'm bored. You know what I mean? I'm a bit trigger happy, a bit bored, taking on. It didn't really matter what I'd done. I could do security vans, banks, sorting offices, didn't really matter to me. Up and down, it could be anything. Anything where there was money, it'd be there, I'll go and do it. That's what it was about.
Sometimes it only takes one night, one misjudgment, and you're facing 15 years behind bars. In September 1988, Vic and his accomplice tried to rob the Penthouse nightclub in Ilford, Greater London.
The first thing I'll do, I've got to get everyone under control, meaning I've got to wrap them all, or get them all together, wrap them up, have the money slip off. That's what was supposed to happen. Nice and easy. Well, you know, what goes on next is unbelievable.
His accomplice fails to cut the phone lines, and the police are called. There are over 100 people still in the club, and Vic's got them lying on the floor. But the place is panicked. Vic then takes the owner of the club and makes him kneel in the centre of the dance floor, holding a gun to his head.
The paramount thought that I had is just how helpless I was. If they want to kill you, they want to kill you. I grabbed what might or might not have been the gun, and of course it was a gun, and it went off actually in my hand. I was holding the barrel, and when it came down, I got shot in the stomach as well. You don't feel anything when you get shot.
The news from ITM. The early hours of this morning, he and his accomplice, both armed with handguns, raided a nightclub in Ilford and shot the owner, who's now in hospital after having surgery.
I got shot in the hand, I got shot in the groin, and I got shot through the arm.
Vic had shot an innocent person. He then tried to escape and took a policeman hostage. After a long police chase, he was caught and arrested. His accomplice got away. That night of crime cost Vic a 15-year sentence, but for his victim, it changed his life forever.
It's a cowardly way and it's a lazy way to just try and pinch what somebody else has got, especially I'm running a one-man operation. I mean, it virtually put me out of business.
David spent 5 agonising weeks in hospital trying to recover from his gunshot wounds.
And I remember when I got home, eventually, and I couldn't get out of the car. I couldn't lift my leg up. And people don't realise these sort of things.
At the age of 31, Vic started his sentence as a top security, category AA prisoner, with terrorists and murderers as companions. For much of that time, Vic was thrown into what they call the blocks in the segregation unit. He was on his own for months at a time.
I've been in segregation units for many years, and I've been down there for months, and I've been pushed to the limits, where they play about with your food, egg games, don't let you out on exercise, they just like absolutely push you to the limits, turn the eating off, you're sleeping in your clothes, putting things in your food so you can't eat it, cockroaches or things or anything they can find, you know, and it's a proper head game in the prison system. And if they don't like you go into the blocks, and that's where most of the beatings take place. People will be beaten up really bad in the units, which I've been beaten up quite a few times. Had my leg, I had to walk on crutches for nearly, I think, a month, and then I couldn't walk properly for about a year, where hit my leg and my ankle with a truncheon. So basically I've seen brutality done to myself and many other prisoners.
Vic Dark held guns to people's heads. But for his crime, he did the time. 21 years in total. That's 21 years to think, and now he's out and wants to right his wrongs. Upset about the number of stabbings in the news, he wants people to learn from his prison experience.
I'm not going to stand there and be an hero. I'm not going to say to kids like follow my footsteps, because I've been a total disaster. I've been banging up for 21 years. Absolutely hard way. There's no winners in this game. No winners. And the murder squad's rate is 99.5. They nearly get everyone. So most of them will get arrested, all these young kids. So before they do it, I just want them to know the fucking misery they're going to cause on both sides of the fence. The person who dies and the person who goes to prison.
Too many of Vic's friends have died. And whilst visiting one of their graves, Vic has time to reflect.
I've lost quite a few friends in prison. About 11 friends have died in prison. And you wake up in the morning and you just think, you're numb, you just don't understand it. It's just a list and list of people. I thought about suicide once or twice in my life in the long prison sentence I've done, but obviously I fought through it. And it is, you go to the edge. And like I say, I've pulled myself back, you know, I see my mum looking down and just throwing a life out of me. I mean, I've seen people rip their intestines out, seen people cut their wrists, seen people hanging themselves. I mean, it's just prison is not what you think it is. It's a proper horror factory. I just wish I grew up some way different, you know. I just wish, well, I can't wish it's happened. I can't feel sorry for myself.
It's plain to see that Vic's time behind bars still haunts him today. But with many friends losing their lives inside, there was only one thing that kept Vic alive.
I dreamed of being a family man over the last 21 years locked up, so I got what I want, and believe it or not, that's what keeps me on the straight and narrow, my family. I've got too much to lose now. The game's over. I've retired.
Jamaica. This vibrant country is home to 2.7 million people. The island is the birthplace of Rastafarianism and is well known for its culture and beauty. But with one killing every 9 hours, it's also home to one of the highest murder rates in the world. Rival gangs have turned parts of the Jamaican capital, Kingston, into hostile war zones. And in this dangerous city, when the public are in trouble, they call in the police. But when the police are in trouble, they call Ford. Bigger Ford.
Flying Squad 1, that's Acting SP Ford.
This is Superintendent Cornwell Bigger Ford, a tough, no-nonsense cop who's been fighting crime in Kingston for over 30 years.
What is actually happening? There's some shooting up in the Concert Spring area. One man has been shot and killed. Another person injured, and a police was also shot and injured. You know, when an officer is down, it's almost like I am down also. Control Flying Squad 1. All right, we are in the Cassava Peace area. This is the area where there's an ongoing gang warfare.
Being such a well-known cop in Kingston, Ford's presence at the crime scene provokes a reaction from the local community.
What really are going? How would that dead down there, sir? A outer man. There's so much outer man about the place.
Place mash up. Only him can cool it, only him can bring it back. He big up for the hero everywhere him go. Him know if to deal with the citizens the right way. Him know everybody, him know the right and the wrong.
Ford needs to find out exactly what's happened.
Well, what we're seeing here now, it's a police fatal shooting. Information coming to me is that there was a shooting on Manningsville Road earlier where a man was shot and killed. The police were in pursuit of some people, and during the shootout, this man was shot and killed. The police was also shot and killed. But what is actually happening, there's an ongoing feud between two set of gangs in the area.
For Superintendent Bigger Ford, mornings like this are all too common. It's 1 hour into his day, and he has 4 murders, one a fellow cop, to deal with.
Bit hot. Lot of problems.
More than any other cop in Kingston, Ford has the ear of the community. So he begins to question the locals about the morning shooting, to find out what happened.
Hey, Willa! You know, police dead. You know, had a man dead last night, man dead today again. What go on in the area? One, him dead, you know. Him them say kill the police, you know. Yeah, man, the policeman dead. As you see, there's a lot of concerned citizens because they need the violence to be stopped, to be curtailed immediately. Everything all right? I see them shoot up your area.
I need to speak to you.
No? No, go over the plaza. What are we the boy that mash up the place? We are dealing with it. I mean, me personally, I deal with it.
This is
all right?
one, you know.
So you have my number, call me, yeah?
She knows something about the shooting?
Yes, it appeared that way. 778-4522. You have to be the teacher, you have to be the doctor, you have to be the social worker. You have to do all things.
Being a cop in Kingston for over 30 years, Ford's life has been on the line more times than he'd care to remember.
I've been shot twice. Lot of incident. The latest one that comes to memories, I came out of a store on Red Hills Road. I heard some shots and saw 2 men running towards me with guns in hand. And they fired at me. And I took them on and both of them were shot and killed. The guns were recovered and also the cash that they had robbed was recovered. So, you know, you can get lucky sometimes.
How do your family feel about it?
Well, my family has grown with it. All they do is just pray and hope that I'm safe. My wife is a Christian, and she does believe. And I think it's her grace and her prayers and her belief that is probably keeping me.
the other cops on the scene are wearing body armour and protection. How come you're not?
I am a believer, and it's by faith that's why I'm here.